What's up YouTube, Never Lucky Draws here today showing you my regionals recap with all the duels. Match 1 was against Floowandereeze. I won the dice roll and bricked, obviously. I set only one card, it was Rivalry of the Warlords, and past turn I had a Summit in hand, a Iris, one Atara, and I guess one Effect Whaler, so a total brick, I couldn't do anything. And my opponent played Floowandereeze, so my Rivalry of the Warlords was pretty much dead. I knew the game was over since I had no real follow-up. I had nothing in the hand and he could go off. I couldn't stop him. He played the Extravagance, also fought off Duality, and yeah, basically the game was over. I was in game 2 already in my mind. But overall, this regionals was very cool. A lot of Swordsoul players, a lot of Floowandereeze and Despias. It was like 30, 30, 30 and the rest was like Eldlich and some broke decks. But most of the players played Floowandereeze, Despia and Swordsoul. Was crazy. I saw so many Swordsouls, it was insane. Left and right, all over the place, it was crazy. But you will see also some mirror matches in the next matches. But for this game, yeah, like I said, I couldn't do anything. I just surrendered in game 1. I drew into, I think it was one other back row which was useless. It was the Blackout, I guess. Yes, it was the Blackout, but against his field it's useless since he flipped down my Atara. Game 2 I went first, obviously. I need to establish some negates on the field. I opened up with Emergence, normal summoned Mui, and he had no hand trap to stop me, so I had a clear way. Obviously Grandmaster into Baron de Fleur, not the Chen Ying, the Banish guy, but the Baron de Fleur, since he's not special summoning any monsters, so it's better to go into Baron de Fleur. A little note. And I had also Cold by the Grave as a set card. I forgot to side it out. The Cold by the Grave is useless. It's only good against Ash and Dimension Shifter if I go first, but other than that it's useless against Floowandereeze since they banished the cards. So yeah, I allowed him to activate the ports since you need to negate the monsters and not the draw cards. So in case he has the monsters already in hand, I need to keep my negates with Baron and the Grandmaster. The quick spell will be negated by my Baron and the Grandmaster negates the normal monsters, but he had no out and it was game. Game 3 he went first, but he bricked. He only had Dimension Shifter and set 2. Luckily I had the Swordsoul monsters and not the tennies, so I could still play even with the Dimension Shifter. I didn't get the extra draw from Mui and the burn for 1200 life points from Long Yuan, but still I could establish the Grandmaster plus the Baron de Fleur to the field, so it was a big win for me. And the Baron also destroys one set card, it was the Cold by the Grave. So yeah, looked very good for me, and he drew nothing and he showed me his brick hand and it was a game. Match 2 was against Eldlich, the biggest cancer deck out there. I hate it so much. I won the dice roll, but I bricked. I had only 2 back rows set and past turn. I had no normal summon. He activated the Golden Lord to pop one of my back rows, but it was the Cold by the Grave. I chained Cold by the Grave and banished his Eldlich. So it was a good trade for me. I normal summoned Mui in my following turn and went into the Grandmaster, but he activated the Dragon Prison Mirror and banished my Grandmaster plus the Mui in my graveyard. So I lost the Grandmaster, but the search was not negated, so I could go into the Long Yuan, into token, but he activated Go's Match, and Go's Match allows me only to control one attribute on the field, and Long Yuan is fire and the token is water, so I have to remove one from the field. And then from this point I knew the game was basically over. Against the Floodgates it's super hard to play, they are annoying as hell. I had a Rivalry of the Warlords as a Floodgate against him, so he couldn't summon his Eldlich since he had already the Sky Prison Dragon on the field and he's rock, so he can't summon his zombie monsters. But still, I myself can't summon anything. Only Mui. Mui is my only out because the token is water and Mui is also water, so that would work, but other options are not viable. So I knew from the point it was over. I was praying for a better draw in game 2. I had a lot of side cards. I sided in like 9 or 10 cards. It was crazy. I had the triple evenly matched, the Harpies Feather Duster, the Cosmic Cyclone Red Reboot, the Soulman Judgments. It was insane. I sided out the Imperms, the Whalers, etc., because they are super useless against Eldlich. Therefore I had a lot of room to side out. And as you can see, he activated Solomon's Strike on my Ecclesia, and I had no follow-up. I set one card in past turn, but he had the Eldlich, and I was low on life points, and he could go for the win. Game 2, I went first. My opening was quite good. I had Muyi as a normal and also the Ashuna first as a special as my blackout target, and also getting the Sinister Longyuan to the field. He's amazing against Eldlich. You can chain his effect to the floodgates to banish them, and also he banishes the Eldlich because he is always special summoned, and he banishes without a target the special summoned monsters. So it's a very good card, much better than Baron de Fleur. In the end phase, I activated Blackout to destroy 2 random back rows. He activated the trap to special summon his Eldlich, but Sinister Longyuan, as you can see, banishes him right at this moment. And yeah, he didn't do that, otherwise he wouldn't activate the effect, I guess. So he passed turn, and in my turn I could OTK him since I had a lot of attack points on the field, and he lost already 2400 life points. Plus I had one Cosmic Cyclone against a random floodgate, so it was over. Game 3, he decided to go first. He set 4 and passed turn. It's always ugly to see so many set cards. You know, 2 of them are floodgates and the others are nasty as well. But I had evenly matched the best card ever after Soulman Judgment, of course. And yeah, he had to banish 3 of his back rows. I searched myself the tire. He activated Dimensional Barrier as a chain, so I can't go into the synchros. So I had the tire on the field with the token and set 2 past turn. And yeah, he couldn't do that much since he lost a lot of resources against the evenly matched. And he had only the Link Spider plus 1 random set and the Elixir, as you can see. And he passed turn. In my turn, I activated Harpy's Feather Duster, and yeah, that was the win move, I guess, since he had nothing left, and I could summon Muyi going into the Grandmaster, getting my Longyuan, the level 10 synchro, etc. So from this point I knew the game was won, since he couldn't stop me. But yeah, the evenly match won me the game, obviously. This card is insane against Eldlich, it's so good. I mean, against many decks it's very good. If you don't have an Omni Negate, it's very deadly, this card, for sure. You have to play this card 3 times in your side deck, guys. Match 3 was a mirror match against Swordsoul, very cool. I won the dice roll, and my opening hand wasn't that great. Even though I had Pot of Desires, I had no tennies, only 1 Ecclesia into Muyi, and he had Imperm to stop my Muyi, so I couldn't do anything, only set 1. It was Imperm and pass turn. He summoned Ashuna and went to the Monk, but I stopped with Ash's Ashuna summon, so he couldn't go into Grandmaster. He went to the second Monk and bounced my Imperm and the normal summon Muyi to have a clear field, and went into the Crimson Blader. And when Crimson Blader destroys 1 monster by battle, he activates this effect, and I can't summon level 5 or higher monsters in my next turn, so I am locked out of the game completely. Normal and special summon, yes, that was the condition, normal plus special summon, so I can't summon anything since I need the level 8s or level 10s or the tennies, for example, but without them it's lost, as you can see. Game 2 was very cool. I opened up with Muyi, went into Grandmaster, into Longyuan. He had no hand trap to stop me. I went into Baron de Fleur, not the Sinister Longyuan, and played the Summit to summon Taya back to the field, and went with Taya into the Dragite. So in total I had a Spell and Trap Negate, an Omni Negate and a Monster Negate. He special summoned Shatana, the Water Tenny, and went into the Monk. And after that he went into the battle phase, because when a non-effect monster is destroyed, the Shatana effect triggers, and Shatana can destroy 1 monster. So I had to negate with Baron de Fleur the Shatana effect, so Baron de Fleur was wasted already. He had also Ecclesia and normal summoned Muyi. I had to negate Muyi obviously with Grandmaster, because he wouldn't otherwise went into the Grandmaster himself. He went into the Berserker, it was his last option. I wanted to activate the Imperm to negate his effect, but he had Red Reboot, so that was crazy. I did not expect this card, so I could set 1 additional card. I set Blackout from my deck, and he could attack both of my monsters, since Berserker can attack a second time when he destroys one monster, plus he gains the attack points on top, so he had 5,800 attack points. And my question to the judge was, if I activate Imperm on him, will he lose his attack points or not? And the judge says yes, so I activated Imperm. I crashed with Brigade, so I could go into my tennies, because the Dragite prevents me to summon any tennies to the field, and I had Vessel plus tennies, so I had to crash in and clear my own board to go into my own Grandmaster, and with the Long Yuan into the level 10 synchro, and that was basically enough for the win. So yeah, very, very interesting duel, and yeah. In game 3 he obviously went first, and I had Lancia against his tennies. He summoned Ashuna. I immediately activated Lancia to stop his banish. He activated Emergence to search for Mui, normal sound Mui, but I had Imperm to stop his Mui as well, and he couldn't do that much. He went into his Link, the Shaman, and passed turn. My hand wasn't that great. The hand traps were cool, but I had no real follow-up. I didn't have Mui or Taya, only Long Yuan, and that's it with the Vessel. But yeah, you need a bit more than that. I mean, only one negate against Swordsoul is very hard, and in this case he had also Imperm to stop my Baron de Fleur, so I knew the game was lost. When he activated Imperm and summoned Mui, no, the Ecclesia I mean, and went into Mui, I knew it's over. He would go into Grandmaster, Grandmaster getting the Long Yuan getting Baron, destroying my own Baron, etc. So yeah, you know, it's very painful if you know it's over. But yeah, it was a very cool match. In match 4 I played against Despia. I lost the dice roll and my opponent went first. He normaled his Aluba and activated his effect to search his branded fusion. I chained Drone Lockbird after his search to prevent any further searches, so I knew he was limited only to the branded fusion. And he activated also the card. I had no Ash, sadly, but it's still only one interruption is fine for Swordsoul. He went into his Mirror Jade Dragon and set 2 cards and passed turn. And in my turn I had a pretty good hand. I had Pot of Desires, he had no Ash to negate that. And I had Vishuda obviously forcing his banish, otherwise he will lose his card. And he didn't banish it right away, so he lost his card. That was a bit weird. But anyway, I summoned Long Yuan and went into my Sinister Long Yuan and set 2 cards and basically attacked and passed turn. I had no Mui or Taya to go into my level 8 synchro, but still I had Rivalry of the Warlords, and this card won me the game instantly against Despia, since they have different types. The Aluba is a fairy, the Mirror Jade is a worm, and other ones are dragons, etc. So you can't summon them if you have Aluba on the field, or let's say the Fallen of Albers. So it's a very, very good card against Despia, and it won me the game. Game 2 he went first again and activated Patchwork to get the fusion and the imp. This card is so powerful. You go plus infinite with this one if it's resolved, because you have materials for the Guardian Chimera, and with the Guardian Chimera you get the draws plus the destructions, so it's insane. This card needs to be banned. So yeah, anyway, he established his board with the Aluba and his Mirror Jade Dragon. He fusioned into this Tax Dragon, that's the new name for this dragon, and summoned his Mirror Jade Dragon back, because at Lube is used for the fusion, and when it's used for a fusion you can return one of your banished monsters back to the field. And yeah, in my turn I summoned Monk with the Atara. He was banished. My next follow-up was with Taya, and Taya was also interrupted by Guardian Chimera, and I had no third follow-up, so the game was over for me. I scooped up and was praying for a better draw in game 3. And game 3 delivered. My draw wasn't super great, but I was able to play. I went first, obviously, activated Pot of Desires. He had no Ash against that. I went +1 instantly. Special summoned Vishuda, normal summoned Atara, went into the Grandmaster. Grandmaster searched me the Long Yuan, and Long Yuan gave me the Sinister Long Yuan to the field. I set 2 cards, one of them was Rivalry of the Warlords and the other one was Imperm. and I passed turn. He activated the branded opening. I chained the Rivalry of the Warlord, so he was locked into his fairies, the Aluba obviously. And yeah, he activated the Patchwork to add again the Fusion and the Imp to the hand. And he had Cosmic Cyclone to counter my Rivalry of the Warlord, sadly. So he could continue his play, otherwise it would be GG right there. So he normal summoned his Fallen of Albas, but I had Imperm to stop him, otherwise it would be very ugly. He could use my own monsters for his fusions, so I had to activate the card. So his last option was to activate Fusion to go into the Guardian Chimera, and Guardian Chimera is super busted. He destroyed my monsters and I got his draws, but I could banish the Guardian Chimera since I had the Sinister Longion effect still live. And yeah, he basically passed turn, and in my follow-up turn I could OTK him. I had the Emergence, I guess, with the Mui. Yes, the Emergence and Mui. And yeah, if you have this opener, you can go into Grandmaster, into Longyuan, and you basically win. Match 5 again against Despia. This time I won the dice roll and opened up with Pot of Desires. I was not looking at my banished pile. I was very confident I have some targets. I first played the Sinister Longyuan to get the additional draw if I play Emergence and search myself the Moi or Tire hand. Happened. I banished all my targets. Double Moi and double Tire plus 1 Iris gone with the Pot of Desires. I had no targets. I was super mad, you're not gonna imagine. It was so hilarious. The whole table was laughing at me. I banished everything with one Pot of Desires. The game was basically lost in this moment because no negates, only one Blackout and one Sinister Longyuan against Despia. No way. He had all the answers and it was an easy walk for him since I had no Grandmaster. I was super mad, you're not gonna imagine. You are super happy to win the dice roll, you have the Pot of Desires in your hand, you have the Longyuan, the Moi. It's like a dream start hand, and then you banish all your targets. It's super disappointing. I mean, it's my fault. I should first go with Moi, but I was thinking let's get greedy and have one additional draw with the Sinister Longyuan, and after that I go into Grandmaster to get the Moi draw plus the Sinister draw and the search with Grandmaster. But yeah, my plan worked against me and I was instantly punished in game 1. So yeah. Game 2 I went first, obviously. I opened up with Moi, got myself the Grandmaster. I Grandmaster searched myself the Longyuan, went into the Sinister Longyuan, the basic combo like always, and I activated the Vessel to get some resources to the grave and to the hand for the next follow-up turn. Plus I had double Judgment set, so I was very confident, and he activated Twin Twist. I was like, really? No way, I have to activate one of my Judgments now, otherwise I will lose both. So, then he activated the Patchwork. I let it go through because it's not a danger yet. He got his pluses. And he chained Droplet. I was like, no way. I have to activate my second Judgment now. Holy crap, I lost my best negates already. And still, he has some like 4 or 5 cards in hand. I have the Grandmaster negate plus the Sinister Longyuan. He normal summoned the Fallen of Albas and Super Poly. And I was like, really? Man, you have the best going second cards ever and you're starting in Droplet, Super Poly and Twin Twister to clean my board. Insane, guys. I was super confident with double Judgment, Grandmaster plus Sinister Longyuan, but man, the Super Poly killed me. It was super disappointing, but yeah, well, happens. It's a luck game. You have to draw the right cards at the right moment. Match 6 was against Brigade with a couple of Despia cards, but the main part was Brigade. I won the dice roll, I opened up with my tennies, I summoned the Grandmaster and I got negated by Gamma. That was super painful. I was not expecting Gamma, to be honest. It was the first time somebody played Gamma against me in this regionals. I was a bit confused and had no real follow-up. I played the Vessel to get some resources for my next turn, set Blackout and passed turn. He activated the Fractal effect to dump a Kid and Nerval to the graveyard. Getting his searches, he searched another Fractal and normal summoned him and activated the effect to banish and special summon a Link monster. He had 3 Link monsters, so he could, no, 2 I guess, and he summoned the Ancient Warrior Link monster, which can bounce cards from the field to the hand. so that was his move, but I could interrupt him with the blackout. I still had the monk as a target plus the blackout to destroy 2 of his cards on the field, and he summoned the fractal and the link monster, went into the battle phase, and I activated the blackout to destroy both of his monsters and my monster as well. And yeah, he set 2 in past turn. One of them was Revolt. I special summoned the shooter, went into the monk, and yeah, he had to activate Revolt. And I had to special summon, otherwise I had to pass turn. That was my only play. So yeah, very unfortunate for me. And yeah, that was basically it for this game. The Gamma was perfect. It was the killer blow in this game for me, since I had no follow-up, no Moi, no Taya, no Long Yuan. Sucks if you only have the tennis. It's sometimes not enough. A combination of both is the perfect start, but having only one is not that great. Game 2, I went obviously first. I opened up with Long Yuan, and he had token collector. Oh, that was so painful, guys. I lost my token, but I had still follow-up. I normal summoned Effect Whaler, went into the Yazi and destroyed Yazi and the token collector, getting myself the Moi. Since Yazi is destroyed, he can summon 1 worm into defense position, and Moi revealing 1 of my worms or Swordsoul, and yeah, summoning Grandmaster, getting myself the blackout to have at least some interruptions against him. And yeah, that was basically it for the turn. A weak board, only Grandmaster plus double interruption is not super great for Swordsoul. And he had of course the droplet to stop my Grandmaster, activated the droplet, and yeah, the Twin Twister against my back row, and that was it. He also had the Gamma against my Ash. He activated the Foolish Burial, I ashed it, and he chained Gamma, so he got 2 additional monsters to the field. It was insane. He had the perfect answers, always the Gamma in the hand to counter my counter plays, and yeah, that's basically game. I couldn't do anything. The token collector plus Gamma plus the Twin Twister and the droplet, I mean, that's so much hate. You can't play against that. It's unreal. It's like in the game against Despia with the Super Poly Twin Twister and what was it? Also the droplet, yes. So yeah, the perfect go in second hands, and yeah, you are just sometimes unlucky, right? It happens. He banished 1 of my cards randomly with his Synchro monster. I had only 1 Tenny to special summon the Atara, and yeah, that was basically it. I couldn't do that much. The game was over. The only hope was normal summoning and Taya and praying that he's forgetting his token collector in the graveyard, but he was smart enough to remember his token collector in the graveyard and activated him when I summoned my token, and that was a game. Match 7 was against Kaijus with Branded. I was super surprised to see such a build. Never imagined seeing such a deck, but well, happened. I opened up with my tennis, went into the Grandmaster. Grandmaster searched me the blackout since I had Long Yuan in my hand. I activated Long Yuan, discarded 1 target, and special summoned the Baron de Fleur to the field since I don't know his deck and Baron is the safer way. Normal summoned the Ecclesia, tributed her, and special summoned the Moi. Went into the Dragite, so I had a pretty strong board with Blackout, Dragite, Baron, and Grandmaster, but I lost Baron to 1 of his Kaijus. He activated Mind Control, I had to negate with Dragite, and after that he activated Kaiju Slumber. Nuked my entire field. I was super surprised, and after that he activated Branded Fusion. I was like, what? He activated the Albion Dragon, but I chained the Cold by the Grave, banishing his target from the grave, the Fallen of Albas, so his effect won't resolve. And in my follow-up turn I summoned Taya, went into the Baxia, and Baxia can bounce 2 of his cards back to the deck, and he had only 2 cards on the field, so I bounced his entire field back. And Baxia can also destroy himself and special summon 1 level 4 monster from the graveyard. So I choose to summon Moi back to the field, and with Moi on the field I could go into Grandmaster, and with Grandmaster you get obviously the Long Yuan, and with Long Yuan you get the level 10 synchro, so I could go for the OTK. But yeah, it was weird to do. I did not expect to play against such a deck, but yeah, worked out pretty well in game 1. Game 2, however, he let me go first. Was a bit weird. I was indecisive to just pass the turn since he needs to tribute my monsters, but I had a pretty strong hand. I would end up on Grandmaster, Baron and Brigade again, and he needs the Godly hand again to break my board, and it's very unlikely, so I went the full combo. But he had Nibiru to stop me, sadly. Maybe a big mistake on my part, I don't know, but I wanted to go for it and I was punished with the Nibiru. I had only the token in set 1 past turn. He normal summoned one of his monsters. I judgment the monster since I didn't want to give him some additional searches. He attacked my token and got rid of it. I summoned Long Yuan to the field. He called by the grave my Ashuna, yes, Ashuna I think it was, so I couldn't follow up with some additional monsters on the field, so I had only the Baron de Fleur and had to destroy his token with the effect and went for the battle. And yeah, that was very unfortunate when he activated the Branded Fusion. I knew he top decked this card because he didn't activate the card in his last turn. It was a very good top deck for him and he could go for game in this round. Game 3 I let him go first obviously since he wants to tribute my monsters. He opened up with Branded Fusion, I ashed it. He didn't cope by the grave my ash. He coped by the grave my tennis in my turn. That was surprising for me. I went into the monk, the Long Yuan. I had unfortunately no Moe, otherwise it would be super game. I would decay him very fast. I miscalculated the life points. I went full YOLO, attacked and burned for 7,400 life points. I made a little error with the calculation. It was a bit late and around 7, you know, counting is not that easy anymore. And I screwed totally up. I used all my resources for the full YOLO move and was super punished. And yeah, he activated evenly matched. I lost my entire board, plus he activated Monster Reborn to get my own Baron de Fleur back and used my own Baron against me. It was a nightmare, guys. It was super insane. The big misplay with the life points cost me the match in the end. Yeah, I was super mad, but yeah, it was anyway a bit frustrating. I had 3 losses in a row, I guess. After a great start with 3-1, it was a bit demotivating, let's say so. Match 8 was against Shadolls and Branded, a weird combo. First time playing against this deck as well. In this constellation, he opened up with Aluba normal summon. I had Whaler to stop the search for the Branded Fusion. He activated Shadoll Fusion to summon Construct and sending his resources to the graveyard, getting his Schism to the Trap and Spell zone so he can summon Winder in my turn. And yeah, that's basically it. He passed turn. I summoned Long Yuan to the field. He activated Schism after the summon, so I had 1 special summon left. I summoned Baron de Fleur, activated the destruction effect on Schism. He activated the Imperm to negate my destruction, but I negated obviously his Imperm with my Baron de Fleur, so he had nothing on the field anymore. I went into the battle phase to destroy his Winder, so I could get some additional special summons to the field. I normal summoned Ecclesia, attributed her and got myself the Moe to the field. Moe obviously revealing one of my targets, getting the Grandmaster to the field, and I searched myself the Iris Swordsoul to the hand because I knew I will negate some effects in my next turn or in the turn of my opponent, so I will use her. He activated the Shadoll Fusion to summon 1 additional Shadoll to the field. It's the Shadoll which negates effects, but I have obviously Grandmaster on the field, and as a chain link 2 I can negate his negate, so he has no effect on me. And I can also summon Iris to the field since there are monsters on the field with negated effects. I can special summon her and she's a very good interruption if he has some follow-up. But he had no follow-up, he just passed turn, and in my turn I had an easy OTK with a Baxia, normal summon, a Taya, getting the Baxia to the field and bouncing his fusion monster plus his set a monster back to the deck, and yeah, that's it for the game 1. It was a clean victory. In game 2 he went obviously first since he wants to establish his negate boards or his interruption boards, but his end board was quite weak. He had normal summon Aluba, searched himself the Branded Fusion, activated the Branded Fusion and dumped the Snow to the graveyard and the Fallen of Albas to summon his Middle Jade Dragon. And past turn I had Harpy's Feather Duster to destroy his Imperm. I special summoned Ataro to the field. He was reading the card and was fine with the summon. I went into the Monk. He banished my Monk, so he was out of interruptions. And basically from here on I had a clean OTK since I had follow up with the normal Tire and the Vessel. And yeah, overall this regionals was quite fun. 4 wins and 4 losses, a bit better than last time, but still very close games, and maybe next time with a bit more luck I can make the top cut. It would be nice, but other than that I will for sure make some minor changes in my Swordsoul deck since the meta is Despia, Swordsoul and Floowandereeze only.
Exodia! Obliterate!